Yeah, hi peeps, it's Tersse Squat Box once again, and I'm here to talk about the most recent meteor that fell in Russia. It was captured on hundreds, if not thousands, of dash-mounted camcorders in cars, most of it, but on other CCTV within stores, shops and offices and stuff. And it was such a shock because this meteor came into the atmosphere like any meteor did, but it was large enough to survive through into the lower atmosphere where it then exploded. And scientists were puzzled about this. I mean, why did it explode, what type of meteor it was, and why did it explode with such force that, even though it was, I think it was 15 kilometres in the air, the shockwave hit the ground, and burst hundreds of thousands of windows, blew garage doors in and everything, knocked people off their feet. They reckon that it exploded with the force, the energy of something like 4 or 5 times the size of the nuclear bomb dropped in Hiroshima. They were puzzled because they didn't think that these are the sort of things that happened with meteors, that they explode all the time. Yeah, you've got Tunguska, that was an air explosion, but most other meteors, they usually hit the ground to cause such devastation. But they've been doing research on this and they now think that they know what it is. This particular meteor started off in the asteroid belt, I think between Jupiter and Mars or something like that, somewhere out there, or Saturn and Jupiter or whatever it is, and it probably had its sort of path within the asteroid belt changed by one of the gas giants, and that made its normal path erratic that it's probably had for millions of years, and then it had a collision with another asteroid in the asteroid belt, and that knocked it out of the asteroid belt on a trajectory in towards the centre of the solar system, putting it on course for a rendezvous with the Earth sometime in the future after that. And this was the result. It entered the atmosphere over Russia, and luckily at a real sparse place in Russia. And it was an air explosion. It exploded something like 15 kilometres up in the air. So they know where it came from. Then they had to find out, well, what was it made of? Why did it explode? So the scientists went out there. They found parts of the meteor. They tested it by, taking it back, sawing through it, and enlarging the polished surface something like 4,000 times or something like that, and examining the structure of the actual meteor. And they came to the conclusion that it was a rocky meteor, the normal kind that we get of rocky meteors, about 8 to 10% metal, the rest of it different kinds of rock and different kinds of other crystallised forms of isotopes that you would only find made in space. But through examining the pieces they had, they found fractures through it, and that put them in mind that it probably did have a collision within the asteroid belt, which was what threw it out of the asteroid belt, and that formed these fractures. And perhaps these fractures had something to do with the fact of when it entered the atmosphere, it was already weakened with all these stress fractures all through the rock. That would have weakened it in order for it, when it heated up, when rock heats up travelling at 4,000 feet per second through the atmosphere, it gets so hot that it almost melts, and that makes it more unstable as well. It makes it softer, pliable. A lot of the stone turns into magma, soft, pliable, molten stone. And some of the stone turns into gas as well. It actually burns off as gas. And well, if you take any element, even steel wool, if you take steel wool, fluff it up and put a match to it, it will burn. You know what I mean? People don't recognise this, but steel will burn in that form. Obviously a lump of steel won't burn, you put a match to it, but if you take steel wool and fluff it up a bit and then put a lighter or a match under it, you will see the steel burn. It's incredible to watch that and see that something so hard and, you know, what we would say resilient just burns with the temperature of a match, you know. They reckon that the temperature that this meteor was burning at was probably similar to the surface of the sun. And these fractures would have caused it to be weak. The heating would have weakened it further. And so when it came through the atmosphere and hit the thicker atmosphere, it broke up. And through breaking up, a lot of the smaller particles, some of it would be being turned into dust particles, they would ignite, and that would be the explosion, you know. And that's a fantastic, you know, sort of view, you know, that the scientists have got, that they've, you know, reckoned that this is how these meteors come in, how they explode. But I remember seeing at another program as well, some time ago. It was the guys that, you know, Mythbusters, the guys that check myths out, right? And they were checking the myth of people being shot with bullets who have dived underwater, and people shoot bullets at them, you know, from AK-47s and that. And they wanted to test out, is it possible to shoot somebody with like an AK-47 or a hunter's rifle, or a, you know, a sniper scope rifle, you know, something, a really high powered rifle. Can you shoot through water and actually shoot someone, you know? So they tested that, and what they found was the higher the caliber and faster, you know, the more energy in the bullet. Doesn't matter where it's they even tested a 50mm sniper rifle, you know, fired that into a tank of water, and what they found was when these bullets that are solid bullets, you can fire them through the air, they will kill people, but when you fire them into water, when they go from air to water, it's almost like hitting concrete, and the bullets break up and they won't do you any damage so long as you're more than 2 or 3 feet under the water, you know. You won't even feel them, you know. They found that slow fired bullets, like muskets, they would be more of a danger. The fact that they're travelling slower, when they go from a thin atmospheric air into a thick atmospheric water, they don't damage and break up the way that, you know, modern bullets do. And so this got me thinking that, you know, maybe the scientists have got something there about, you know, the asteroids, you know, colliding with each other in the asteroid belt and being thrown out of the asteroid belt on a cosmic course of Earth. Maybe that does weaken them a bit, you know, the stress fractures and stuff like that they find in the rock. But I'm wondering, it's possible that some of these objects are just, you know, disturbed enough by some of the larger bodies in the atmosphere, in the solar system, to be gradually pulled or pushed out of the asteroid belt and end up on a cosmic course with Earth anyway. And what I was thinking is, it's possible that, like a bullet travelling from air into water, breaking up, no, a high caliber bullet, you know, from like an AK-47, you know, an M16, you know, that sort of bullet, you know, a 50 caliber sniper rifle that the military use. Those bullets break up when they hit water because they're travelling at such a fast speed that even though they're solid objects, the change from air into water is such a stressful experience for them that the bullets just break up into pieces. They actually fragment, so that so long as you're a foot or 2 or 3 underwater, the only thing that you're going to notice is probably the sound of the impact of the bullet hitting the water. You're never going to get hit by them. So I was thinking, it's possible that this is what's happening with these rocky asteroids, you know what I mean, that become meteors when they enter our atmosphere, and maybe even the sort of rocky metallic that are higher percentage of metal, maybe 30%, 35% metal, you know, and 65 to 70% rock. The rocky metallics, it's possible that they are going to react as well when they hit the Earth, the way that this, you know, rock meteor did. Because my hypothesis, my thoughts on this are that if you've got something travelling at 40,000 feet per second and it starts to come through the thinner upper atmosphere, it's getting heated up because of the friction, that's weakening and softening the meteor itself. And so even if it hasn't got fractures, it's becoming soft and pliable, and some of the constituent parts of that meteor are going to become more molten than others, giving it already a weakness that it didn't have when it was travelling through space. and then when it hits the thicker atmosphere of the lower atmosphere, it's almost like going from air into water. I mean, this is what you, a lot of people might not understand. We here on the planet Earth, standing on the land, you know what I mean, the solid matter of the earth, you know, breathing what we call air, we see it as a gas. But when you compare the boundary between the thicker atmosphere, the thinner atmosphere, and then open space, it's almost like going from air into water. So when this thing comes travelling through the upper atmosphere with just enough particles of oxygen, helium, hydrogen, all that, you know, nitrogen to heat it up, when it hits the thicker atmosphere, it's like a bullet entering a pool of water. And I think that could be the reason that you get them just around about the 15 kilometres up, you know, 15, 20 to 25 kilometres up. That's the danger zone of these meteors entering our atmosphere and hitting. Well, basically it's like them hitting a wall, you know, it's like them hitting concrete compared to what they've been passing through before. They really are hitting a pool of water, because compared to space, our atmosphere is like a water, it's like liquid, you know. And I think that is probably another reason why these meteors are exploding at that height. And I do believe that they need to be of a certain constituents, you know what I mean. They need to be these rocky meteors or metallic rocky meteors. Most metal meteors don't break up like that. They burn off a lot of their mass, percentage of the mass as they come through the thicker atmosphere. They may give shock waves as well, but they don't explode. The solid metal ones, they don't explode. They tend to break up on impact, you know, and the larger parts of them get buried, but they give off a lot of their mass on the impact as well as it dissolves and gets turned into particles. And I think we'll probably find later that it's more to do with the angle that they enter the atmosphere, the speed they're travelling at, and then hitting being heated up and then hitting the thicker atmosphere. That's why I think that they're exploding. And I don't think they necessarily need to have been collided with other rocks and other detritus in the asteroid zone before they came here. They could be solid, non-fractured. But I think the heating has come through the higher atmosphere, and then the impact of hitting the low atmosphere. I think that could be the cause also of these meteors basically just exploding like a bomb. Because by heating them up, it's making them more, what do you call it, what's that word now? More volatile. It's making them more volatile. There's more parts of the meteors that are becoming red hot and molten and beginning to turn into gas inside the actual meteor as it's travelling through the upper atmosphere. And when it hits that thicker layer of lower atmosphere, you know, and richer in oxygen as well, and then just the heat and the gaseous parts of it, you know, being able to be ignited, and the impact when it hits the thick atmosphere, fractioning it and shattering it apart. It's basically turning into a bomb right there as it punches through the thicker lower atmosphere, you know, which is, as I say, about 15 to 20 kilometres above us, you know, is where the atmosphere really starts to thicken. It's a very thin skin that we have of atmosphere around the Earth, really, you know. But when you punch through the upper atmosphere and hit the lower atmosphere, it's like jumping off of a diving board and belly flopping on the surface of the pool, man, you know. That's what's happening to them. Smack. And that energy is going to go somewhere when it meets something that's been superheated, you know what I mean, and so much already become gas and become more volatile, and then there's all that oxygen, you know, thick oxygen atmosphere, you know, and it's like boom, you know. I think that's really why they're exploding. Not so much the fractures that it might have had in it. It's the impact. It's the pure energy impact of hitting the atmosphere that's producing the huge explosion, you know. Anyway, that's just my views on things, and I'm not a scientist, and I'm thinking maybe these people have already considered this, but you know, even the smartest people in the world, sometimes they just totally overlook the plain obvious. And perhaps none of these people have seen any of the experiments done with high velocity, brass bullets. And, maybe they're just missing that one trick. I mean, I knew that bullets broke up when they hit water, because I've fired bullets into water before. But the Blockbusters episode where they did that test, that really showed me that it doesn't matter how big you make the bullet, how much bigger you make the bullet, how much solid you make the bullet, how much faster the bullet is travelling. In fact, the faster the bullet is travelling, the more likely it is to break up when it hits water. And I think that's the same with asteroids and meteors, Anyway, thanks very much, guys, if you've watched this video, if you've listened to me and put up with my rambling. I hope you could maybe see that program. It was put on TV by Channel 4. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was just recently on. It's on tonight, basically. But yeah, watch that video, and I hope you'll listen to what the scientists say, and then consider what I say, and maybe see that there's a possibility there of the scientists both being right and me actually having seen another avenue of something they should be investigating as well. Although it doesn't really matter, because when these things come to an atmosphere, certain ones are just going to explode, But I think it's definitely to do with the angle they hit the Earth at, and what the constituent parts are made of, And by the way, I mean, we think that we're all going to live forever, and mankind's the most superior fucking animal that's ever been alive on the Earth, and we're going to just have a gigantic, lifespan, and we're going to go out and colonise the universe. But that's not necessarily so either. I mean, we do know there are very, very large objects out there that have hit the Earth before, and in fact a lot of scientists looking at the amount of them, because we're not tracking, I think we're tracking something like fucking less than 10% of the asteroids in the solar system, and that's the big ones I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the ones the size of cars and buses and multi-story flats, Talking about things of a kilometre, 1.5 kilometre, we're only tracking about 10% of them, so we're overdue for something that size to actually impact on the Earth. And if we discovered one tomorrow, we've got no idea how to fucking deal with it. We've got no plan that would be able to come into operation within the next 18 months to save the world. Well, there'd be a rush, I'm sure there'd be a rush like you see on these, disaster movies where they go up and drill holes and put atom bombs in it and blow it up and all that. But there's just no way that, especially with the shuttles being down and just depending on Russian rockets and the fucktardiness that we have with our politicians at the moment. Nobody having any money. I think the bankers are going to put their money on the line. Oh, let's go and ask fucking Mount Hatton Chase and Lehman Brothers to fucking, foot the bill for saving the world. They'd fucking laugh at you, man, you know what I mean? And we are very, very long overdue, They reckon sometime in the next 50, 100 years, one of these massive 1.5 kilometre, maybe larger, 50 kilometre fucking meteors is going to hit the Earth. And the bigger it is, the worse it's going to be for us. But even at 1.5 kilometre meteor hitting the Earth somewhere disastrous like mainland Europe, mainland America, mainland India, mainland China, that would be it. That would be enough to put us into like a 10-year fucking, winter, block the sun out, nothing would grow, no vegetation, can't feed animals, we could maybe eat algae, you know what I mean? Grow seaweed, you know what I mean? But that would be it, and it wouldn't be, within 10 years, humankind would be extinct. That'd be it. And, we're like a pigeon flying, or I don't know, a pigeon flying through a fucking pigeon chute, man, You got fucking 300,000 fucking shotguns aimed in the air, and you're flying through it, and you've got no idea when a fucking pellet's going to hit us, man. And that's basically what the Earth is, you know, flying about the universe without any insurance, you know. Because if it happens, they say, oh, we've got 18 months, start digging tunnels into the Earth. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you dig 10,000 fucking tunnels 2 miles deep in the Earth, you know what I mean? It's going to be nothing to eat for 10 years. You try fucking saving enough people and giving them enough food for 10 years so that there's enough people left over to start over again, and you're going to start over at the level of cavemen. No matter how much technology you try to take with you, it's going to run out. You're going to run out of fucking shit to fucking repair it with. You're eventually, in what, 30, 40, 2 generations, 50 years after surviving the 10 years, you're going to be back to working with Stone Age fucking ideas, man, you know what I mean? Stone Age fucking technology with 21st century brains. And we're not very good at working with 21st century technology. Just look at the fucking world. You know what I mean? Fucking iPods and all that shit. Yeah, fucking brilliant. You know, what would you use them for? Fucking sexting each other. How good's that going to fucking serve you, mate, if the fucking world is, you know, back to the fucking Stone Age? How much is the Republicans and the Democrats and presidents and prime ministers and, you know, and fucking, you know, your army and, you know, how much is that going to serve you when basically what you're trying to do is survive long enough to repopulate the Earth, you know? Back to the Stone Age, man. Back to the Stone Age. Thank you for that. The Stone Age. The Stone Age with some metal tools. But basically, you know, you're not making concrete, you're not building skyscrapers anymore. You're building fucking wooden huts. You know what I mean? So yeah, maybe the Bronze Age then, you know. With 21st century fucking thinking. Yeah, that, you know, if I can't get my MTV, the world's not worth living. That's the fucking mentality you're going to fucking be working with, you know what I mean? Fucked, mate, that's what we are, fucking something like that happens. Fucked. Anyway, Swansea.